It's very funny that you're always lurking. I hope you approve. I'm like nervous now.
I gotta make sure that you're representing the podcast correctly.
What?
You'll get my full report at the end of the season.
Oh my God. Welcome to Court Captains, a volleyball podcast,
where we talk all things Pro Volleyball Federation. I'm Kelly.
I'm Nikki.
I'm Ian. And today we're talking a furious playoff push. Welcome in.
Truly furious.
Nikki's back.
I'm
on the pod.
All of us back together.
I'm back in town. I couldn't stay away. I think my only sadness was that a guy, as y'all mentioned, you blew up my spot. I did go to Italy with my family.
They were clamoring. They were like, they found you. It was like a security issue. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really tough. And all that I really wanted, though, like when I was there, I was like, man, I wish that there were still Italian leagues like
that would have been fun.
So that I could go to a game over there. So real missed opportunity for me and my family. But I'm back here watching. I downloaded 3 matches to watch on the plane ride home.
Wow.
Nice.
And then I caught up on the other 2, or what, there were 7 this week. Yeah. So then I caught up on 2 on YouTube on Monday.
CBS game.
And the CBS games, which are hard to, I think they're uploading those somewhere. Is it 72 hours after?
Oh,
something
maybe.
like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like I don't think they were doing it consistently for the first ones.
They did like a mass drop of a lot of like 3 of them.
Yeah.
Of content.
Well, anyway, so we're back. Thanks for joining us, listeners. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Court Captains Pod. For these last 2 weeks of the regular season, we're going to be keeping a close eye on how things are shaking out with the standings, and then we'll have playoff time. So a lot of interesting stuff happening as this inaugural season wraps up. We have some updates, some higher level things going on with the league that we wanted to talk about when we started off this week, plus some questions from listeners, which y'all referenced last week. We're going to answer a few of them. But first, we've got the watch list posted to Instagram, the PVF to VNL watch list of these players who are, maybe, probably, perhaps going to leave the PVF early.
Question. Are these players that are on their national teams, or they're for sure on the VNL rosters?
They're for sure on the VNL rosters. As far as I know, I found these names on the VNL website.
Gotcha.
So there's like so many countries that made it. When you click on the country, you can click to the roster.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that could still change, I guess, but at least I think that they released those rosters a couple weeks ago, and matches for, at least for the US, Canada, and the DR, start on either May 14th or 15th. So before playoffs start. But after PVF regular season is over. And so what we know and what we've talked about here before and on Instagram is that Asia O'Neal, her last match was with the Columbus Fury was April 7th. There was actually a TikTok that I found through the subreddit. She was just doing a get ready with me, and she was putting her makeup on and talking about updates and what's going on with her. And we got more transparency about her injuries in her life than like any of the other players
I love it.
that we've ever seen. She was just GRWMing, maybe trying to influence. And I just wanted to mention, like, we have a little more information. So like at the end of her Texas season, she hurt one ankle. She played through the rest of her season, and we talked about that she had an ankle surgery right after championships in December. When she screwed up it was the other ankle in that Columbus match.
Oh.
And so she was fighting through the healing of the one and trying to get it strengthened again. And then I believe she said that the other ankle was what she messed up on the slide. That one play that I think I'll remember from like back in March or February. And so what she says happened is like the FIVB rules are that at any point when your country's national team wants to, quote, call you up for whatever reason, your pro team contract has to allow that. Mm-hmm. And that's any country in the world. Sure. Yeah. And so I think what she says happened is the trainer of the US team, it's not uncommon for trainers of the national teams, whichever countries, to like check in on their players during their pro seasons and do kind of like a physical eval. And so that trainer looked at both ankles and was like, we got to get you over to Anaheim to do like a rehab program before the VNL starts. We think that's kind of in your best interest. And so she said, yep, sure, because I think she has a real chance of making like the Olympic roster, which is not the VNL roster. VNL is close to 30 people for the US, and it's going to be, I think, around half that for the final Olympic roster. So there's a chance she gets pulled to that. I think that she cares about what Karch and the Olympic team, the Olympic coaches and staff think. So that's what she's been doing for the last few weeks, is like rehabbing, and she got like a shot in the one ankle, she said. Oh, no. But she says that it's responding well. So anyway, at least we have a little more information about that. Thanks for getting ready with us, Asia. And besides that, we have no information about when other American players will get called up, quote unquote. But we know from the roster that was released, it will be Ashley Evans of the Rise, Morgan Hentz of the Vibe, Kendall Kipp of the Fury, and Kendall White of the Supernovas.
It's crazy. Like Kendall Kipp, it's like she's such a big get for Fury and is playing like she's now one of their main hitters. And it's like, oh, yep, you might not have her for the championship if you guys, but I think they're playing the game of let's get to the top 4 and then we'll see. Like Samantha Drexel didn't even, her hair was down in the last game. Like, so interesting.
It is. I think that I don't know what the dynamic of that will be. Like, I think one of the things I wanted to do was speculate on if these players go, who's going to be in their stead, and like, who do we think will play for them, which we can do in a second. But like with Morgan Hentz, the Vibe could realistically win $1 million, and that's like a $30,000 to $40,000 bonus for her. All for like, I think that the conversation around the Olympic team is that the Justine Wong Orantes has been the libero for a while.
Oh, okay.
She was a gold medalist in 2021 for the 2020 Olympics. Gotcha. And Zoe Fleck is another one who's been in the mix. So I think when it comes to Morgan Hentz, like will that team be like, yeah, go win 30 grand and then come meet us when we're on our way? Like, is that something that could happen?
Right.
Yeah, I wonder how much say they have. Yeah, I'm sure their agency or whatever can work something out potentially, but you know, it's just whether she wants to go late.
Especially because in that case, who else do they have? Yeah. Vibe hasn't really played any other liberos.
Just got to sign someone, I guess.
It's okay.
They have Kamel Hiapo.
Yeah.
Who's out of BYU and has played DS and served a couple times, but hasn't gotten any real playing time at libero. So I don't know.
Well, that could make the playoffs a little interesting, I guess.
The other players.
Same with Kendall White, though. Like, as another libero played for her.
Gabby Thompson has been in the mix.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Here and there. I think that'll be fine. But energy-wise, Kendall, I think, brings so much.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, like you said, Kendall Kipp's going to be a problem to lose. She's getting so many attempts. In the post-game interview most recently, Rye Santos outright was like, Kendall's our go-to on offense right now. Like they all know it.
Yeah.
With Ashley Evans, we haven't seen Mac Pedraza set much, but she did get in this week a bit.
Yep, because they're like, oh shit, we gotta play our other setter.
Starting to prepare a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think it went very well. Ashley Evans did play in the last set of that match.
Yeah. So some teams will have an easier go of that, I think, than others. At least when it comes to the, American subs. Other players on the watch list. So we know that Lane Van Buskirk of the Thrill, her last match with the Thrill was April 26th. And then Shaina Joseph, her last match with the Valks was April 29th. So those are the two Canadian players they reported. I don't know if that has to do with the, Canadian coach just like saying that's what the plan is going to be, or both of them those teams are less in playoff contention. Although it's still pretty close. But both those players are done now. Amani MacArthur got pulled up for the Thrill from practice squad to be the next middle. And then Shaina Joseph, there's like other pin hitters, I think, that can step in there. We've seen that happen throughout the year.
Yep.
The final player on this list is Betty De La Cruz, is on the Dominican Republic's roster.
Oh, yeah.
They have plenty of pin hitters.
Yeah. I mean, she has been taken out before.
Yeah but she's been on fire lately.
Yes, she has. We shall see. It's keeping it interesting.
It really is.
Yeah. We always have something to talk about.
Well, most people think like it'll just be Atlanta walking to the championship. Not if a couple of their players leave to go play for national teams,
For sure.
Make it exciting.
Not if the just like star libero leaves. I think that to that point though, I just want to call out that Atlanta, as of the end of week 14, is 18-5 in first place. They've played 23 matches out of their 24. They are the only team with one match left on May 2nd. And then they don't have anything until playoffs.
That honestly might be to their detriment.
Do you think?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, if they're not, I don't know. There's a delicate balance. Like there's like tapering, but if you're not out, if you're just playing against each other, I don't know. But that means a lot more time in the classroom. Lots to scout.
And to rehab. That's really, I think, where I think that's a benefit is the rehabbing part. Almost 2 full weeks. But you're right. It can be, you can go a little stir crazy in the classroom.
A week would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they have secured their number 1 spot.
Yep. Regular season champs.
Yep.
They got the t-shirts.
They took it and they held on to it the entire season. Good for them.
But see, here's the problem with those 2 weeks then, is like they get the number 4, whoever the hot team is that battled their way to the final playoff spot.
Right. They're going to be out for blood.
Right into, a vibe team that hasn't played anyone in 2 weeks. That'll be interesting.
It will be.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay, so we can review some transactions things that happened in the last couple weeks. For the Thrill, Megan Jemison got waived, and we didn't see too much of her. We saw her every now and then. And Peyton Caffrey was signed 3 years pro, and we did see her.
She played, yeah.
Mm-hmm. 4th year of pro. She was at Florida State, West Virginia, and then Florida State. She was
just signed straight to the active roster.
That's right.
Yeah.
Erin Livingston was signed to practice player. She's a rookie out of BYU. She's an outside. So those were all outsides that they were working with. And then I mentioned, as a result of Lane Van Buskirk being exempt on the roster to go play for Canada, they brought Amani MacArthur to active. And she's been practicing with the team all year. So
Mm.
That's kind of a more familiar one.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego Mojo, they signed Willow Johnson, who came out of Oregon. This is like a lot of Oregon Ducks on Mojo.
And then she just got Player of the Week.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
1 for 1.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible. So I heard announcers talk about how she was in early with the PVF. She trained with the Mojo in preseason. And then
that explains so much about Mojo. Because they never really had a right side. Like Temmie was playing right side, and that like
totally
it wasn't really her, even though she's great at it.
Yeah, sure, she can do whatever.
But that explains a lot, honestly.
No, you're right.
Because I remember at the beginning of the season being like, what are they doing without a right side? Well, here she is. She showed up.
That's a very good point. I just want to mention Willow Johnson is the daughter of Randy Johnson.
Whoa.
Put gasp here. What are you talking about?
That's wild.
Ian, do you want to say a bit about Randy Johnson?
I mean, Randy Johnson is he was a pitcher.
Is this like
he's like 6'10"?
His name's like a bad dirty joke. Like that Austin Powers would say. Okay, sorry. I'm literally gonna roast this guy. All right.
His nickname was the Big Unit. And that is not a joke. That it was his nickname.
Kelly's laughing and making no noise.
Not the big Johnson, but okay.
No, the Big Unit. Randy Johnson, the Big Unit. He was 6'10", so he's huge.
That's huge. He was a pitcher.
Yeah, he was a pitcher.
Left-handed.
Vicious fastball. He has a clip beyond his incredible pitching feats. He also exploded a bird in midair one time.
Oh, I've seen that video.
Yeah, you've seen the clip. That's Randy.
And with Willow being player of week 14, I just kind of feel like it's kind of like when her dad hit that bird. We didn't expect it to happen, but when it did, we said, that makes sense.
Exactly. She exploded the bird of the PVF.
Oh my God.
With her first week in league.
But not the Osprey. The Osprey is still alive.
No, true. Does
the Mojo Osprey have a name? Do we know?
I don't know. It should be like Oscar.
JoJo?
Well,
we gave 2 extremely good names. We don't even need to ideate it anymore.
Yeah, Mojo JoJo from Powerpuff Girls.
Or Oscar the Osprey. That's it. That was the quickest brainstorm ever. Okay, well, so that was some stuff that went on with Mojo. To make room for Willow, they waived Carson Bacon, but since she's a rookie out of Oregon, she's a middle blocker, and Willow's an opposite. So they were able to put Carson back on the practice squad. So that's why they made that choice, because she was a rookie. They also waived Lindsay Stalzer, who was a part of the team and has been a pro for 16 years. She's a bit older. I think she's in her late 30s. She wasn't playing at all, but that's a bit of a bummer. Anytime one of those players is on the squad, I kind of think like they're like coach in the gym energy. But I feel like, they're probably going to get waived at some point. So anyway, she was waived. And then Claire Felix, they signed. I don't know much about her. They signed her on April 19th. 6-year pro, graduated from UCLA, middle blocker, 6'5". But I think that they just welcomed her as of April 30th. So maybe she'll play in these last 2 weeks to try to help Mojo make some moves.
Mojo moves.
Final transaction was that Stephanie Samity got signed by the Omaha Supernovas. She's an opposite.
And
she's been playing 3 years of pro. And I think she was in the Turkish League most recently. She was Big Ten Player of the Year 2 times at Minnesota.
Wow.
And she played in a match after only 1 practice with Omaha.
All right, so we have some questions from the listeners. I believe all of these have been emailed to us. So the first one is from Casey. Can you talk about the rules for when a first ball goes over the net and is going out of bounds? A player from the same team runs over to get it, sending it back over to their own side of the court. That's the second touch. So their team can then use the third touch to send it over properly.
This is a really well-worded question.
Very
because
well
That's
worded.
a hard thing to like communicate.
Yeah, Ian, did you get that?
I think I understand.
Can you visualize what's going on right now?
Yes. I believe I can. But like then what?
It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, it
and
wouldn't seem like
honestly,
it would.
I probably should have read this before so I could look up the actual rule because I never know what
It
it
seems
is.
ripe for interference.
So the
Like, couldn't
key
I
with
then
this,
just go for the ball going
All
out
right.
of bounds and run
Take it.
into
Yeah. Take it away, Nick.
So the key with this and how this isn't written in the question, and I think it's confusing when we're watching on the screen with the angles that we have. This only works if the first ball went over the net, but went outside of the antenna.
Yes.
Okay.
So even that angle is a little crazy to think about, but it does happen sometimes like on an off blocker dig or on a dig that's like already kind of at the sidelines. That's the angle where that could happen, where the first ball could go. So if you think about, for the right side, right back is playing defense. There's a ball that goes down the line and they kind of dig like straight ahead of them, maybe a little to the right. Then that ball is going over the net, but on the outside of the antenna.
So like if the ref was there, it was like over the referee,
Correct. Yeah.
over their head.
Only then can you go under the net or around the net to go get it. But another person technically needs to be also outside of the antenna. So that's like the out of bounds pursuit.
Yeah.
They need to bring it back over, also outside of the antenna, for then a third touch to go over the net and within the antennas.
Okay. So that if they hit it back over to their own side, but in between the antennas, it would be illegal.
Correct.
It would lose the point.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all about pursuing that out of bounds because that initial one was out of bounds.
Sure.
Yeah.
But specifically in airspace, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If it goes over the net and it lands out, you can't go get that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense because then you could just like, yeah, we're going to line up one of our players out of bounds on the
On the
other
other
side of the net. And we're going to dig it to them over the net to out of bounds. And they'll hit it back to us over the net.
They'll set it
We'll kill it.
from over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
It honestly doesn't happen very often. It's hard to do.
Sure. Yeah.
It's hard to do when it doesn't it's hard to make it happen. Like
I will
even the
say-
first time.
I also recall at one point there being a rule where the second person that's pursuing it had to either stay inside the court to go get it or make sure they go around the referee to go get it. Like whether they're going to stay inside the court to go get it or around the referee. I don't know if that's still a rule or if that ever was a rule. I don't know.
I think
It's
now
like house rules somewhere.
Yeah.
you either go around the pole or you can go under the net, but you have to be like out of bounds.
Yeah, and you can't like
Mhm.
run into anyone. And the people on the other side have to get out of the way, actually.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's happened like a time or two, and I can understand that it's confusing, especially because of the way that we're seeing it on screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can't tell at all what's going on. So
Yep.
Yeah,
Good
it's
question.
outside.
Did you hear about the out of rotation call last week?
okay,
Could you believe it?
that's some bullshit, honestly.
Into a set point too.
It was
I
crazy.
don't understand.
I know.
Refs
We-
have been. I
we don't
saw
have
a
to-
lift call that was terrible this week.
Oh.
I saw a double
They're like,
and
we're
whoever
taking,
it was
we're taking
was
our
like-
power back from the robots.
from the Bolt 6. We're your Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen some wild calls. I can't imagine the out of rotation call.
It was because of your acclaimed dub sub.
Oh,
It was a dub sub right into a rotational error because
Yep. I think that,
you know,
that
there's
was
just
the
a
problem.
miscommunication.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that's no good.
Yeah.
Sorry to this man.
Sorry to this man. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Casey, for the question.
Yes. All right. Another question. This is from Will in Rochester. I'm just kidding. He's not. I just felt like I needed to like add.
Did you just make up Rochester,
Location.
or is that a reference?
Yeah, I just made that up. Anyway, I tend to think of middles as a defense. What if he was from Rochester?
Creepy.
I tend to think of middles as a defense-focused position. Who are some of the middles that you see as great defenders?
Hmm.
Well, we, of course, have called out Allison Bastinelli of the Mojo. I also believe that Kaz Brown is a very good defender because she has very long arms, and she gets there and she closes the block, and it's really cool. Those are the two people that I can think of off the top of my head. How about y'all got any opinions?
I think even though Coach Hanif Park has said that Ronica Stone is more offensive, I think she's also very defensive.
Yeah. Honestly, they're all great.
Yeah.
I said that's my qualifier now.
Great.
They're all really good at volleyball.
So good.
Yeah.
I think Vuchkova does a good job on Supernovas.
Oh, yes.
Of the blocking.
Yes.
Same with Tori Dixon. They're pretty defensive.
I would say both of those players are more defensive than offensive, actually.
Yep. I agree. Ian, anybody who jumps out to you?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, it always seems to me to be like defense in most sports is more of like a defensive, or obviously it's defensive, more of like a team's system thing. And obviously the middle blockers are like the front line of that in volley. But like the Vibe are great defensively because it feels like they just all know what they're doing. They all know where the other one's going to be. So I don't know, like, and always, as with like sports like hockey, which I was watching tonight, there like are not as many metrics that they measure them by and that they give to us. So it always feels more of like an eye test thing outside of like block touches.
Yeah.
But if you're a great defender, people go away so you don't get as many chances either.
That's a good point.
Also from Will from Rochester, relatedly, are there teams that are focused more on defense or offense for different positions? Example, would Atlanta rather have more defensive middles with such great pin hitters, or perhaps vice versa for San Diego?
So I think that volleyball is odd because I think everybody, except the libero probably, has to be both a defensive and an offensive player, has to have that role.
Like, obviously you have strengths, but like at the end of the day, you need to be able to go to anyone for offense. And they have to be able to defend.
Yes, and we talk all the time about how teams that are setting their middles offensively are going to have a better chance to win because you have more options.
Yeah.
And so, like, I understand the feeling of like middles are a defensive focused position because, like you said, Ian, they're like the first line of defense, literally.
And they're usually the tallest, and
they're moving all over. They're responsible for the whole width of the net in order to take some part of the court away. But it's so important that they like get back, transition, and be an offensive option so that the other side, their middle blocker, can be actively in defense at that moment.
Yeah. I think a lot about also the right side because we talk a lot about the outsides usually get the most sets. And so usually the outsides are like the really big hitters that like are Energizer Bunny. They go. And you need a right side that is a really good block. However, you also need the right side to be able to hit, obviously, so that you can mix up the sets. So you're not always going to your outsides. And then I also think about, it's all, I don't know, everyone needs to be able to do both. And then, but then you think about the backcourt. Setters need to be able to dig a ball, or else nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to get hit at all day.
Yeah.
And when we
Well,
think
and
about,
I mean,
go ahead.
like when we were talking about middle blockers, the last half question, I guess. I mean, I think about like I assume you want to not only look for, it all in one player, but make sure that you're getting everything you want out of the two players that you have out there most of the time, middle blocking. And I think like even though they've been struggling a little bit recently, the like Kaz Brown, Michaela White combo, I think is that like Michaela or Kaz Brown has a lot more blocks than Michaela White. I mean she's played more throughout the year, but they both can obviously kill the ball a lot too. They both can serve decently well. I mean, like we said last week, they're very good at volleyball, so most of them can at least be passable at everything, but it seems like, as long as you have a duo you can rely on to do, all that work combined between the two of them, that's what you most need.
Relating to that, thanks, Will from Rochester.
Yeah.
We got match by match analysis, 7 of them for week 14. April 23rd, we had Omaha at San Diego, their final meeting.
Yeah, exciting one. Went the distance for their final meeting in San Diego, as you said. San Diego continues proving they belong in the postseason hunt.
Mm-hmm.
They won in 5 over the Supernovas. After losing the first set, 19-25, they came back in the second, won at 25-17. Then they won the third, 25-22. The Supernovas took the fourth by 4, 25-21, and then the Mojo won the tiebreaker set, 15-8.
An observation about the Mojo announcers.
Oh, goodness.
They talked more about the other team, and I'm like, aren't you supposed to be, like, there for Mojo?
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like there's a difference between being a neutral announcer, and I feel like you see that. Honestly, you don't really see that. You see that maybe in championships, like the March Madness, NCAA. The announcers that they bring in are going to be more often than not neutral. But like when it's the broadcast that's owned by the team, I have no expectation of neutrality. I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about this?
No, I'm with you. I think that a lot of these announcers like have never called.
They also have 2 men,
played.
which I'm like, let's not do that. Sorry.
These guys, I just don't like talk too much shit. But these guys are a little tough for me because they just talk about the most random. A lot of announcers of all sports aren't tough for me. They just bring in random. They said something about going back and forth like a metronome, and one of them broke a metronome when they were little. Like it's just like.
And like I understand that for baseball when you have a lot of time to fill. Okay, volleyball, you don't really have to do that.
Like, please get back to the play-by-play.
And just all broadcasts replay the play after every single point.
Okay, I'm having trouble because I don't always want them to just replay the where the point was made. Sometimes I want them to replay the cool thing that happened during the point.
Yes.
And it's not. So now I'm raising the bar, I guess. Yeah. We're seeing more replays. I like that. Now I'm gonna push you to go a little bit further and don't just show me the random thing that finished the point if it's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The San Diego announcers were talking a lot about Omaha's side. I do appreciate, like, we got a lot of information on Stephanie Samity, and that was good for me. But when it's like almost like I don't think that these guys did this in this game, but I remember at one point last week there was an announcer like for their own broadcast was like yelling like stuffed.
Oh.
About their own team. And like very excitable, like
Jill
Gillen stuffed. And I was like, you're the Orlando announcer. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Stop it.
Gosh.
Like, don't be so excited. Like, which is like, let's go back to Rise at that match the announcer being like, point thrill. Like, that's how I want you to talk about your
Right.
own player getting stuffed.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, they got
Point. Oh, Jill stuff.
Anyway, back to the I do think that hitting was just like not going well for Omaha. I think I don't know if you noticed, I thought a lot of the sets were tight.
Yes, I wrote that down. Sydney Hilly setting way too tight. That's my note.
And they switched setters, but I just don't think it was enough at that.
I agree.
So bummer.
Well, and I mean, that was part of it too, is like, I don't think the Mojo hit that much better necessarily. I think they hit still under 200, but they had 20 blocks.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
and they both pretty big at the net. I mean, Omaha only had 10, so they had half the blocks of the Mojo, but they still had 38 block touches to the Mojo's 25. So
yeah,
Mojo. It's just converting some of those block touches into actual blocks.
This was so streaky in that, like, in the first set, Omaha was way up, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the second, San Diego was up 10-3.
Yeah.
In the third, San Diego was up 9-2. Like, the beginning of the game is so important. If you play catch up the entire set, you have such a worse chance of taking the set when you have to claw your way back 7 or 8 points. So this was, I find, and I don't feel like we're seeing that a lot anymore. And we did here. And so I was kind of surprised by that. It also makes it like tougher to watch, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about before where like the Mojo wind up finding a win with, you know, under 50% positive passing and 13% perfect passing. But
yeah, their first touch, serve receive, kind of poor. Defense, I thought they really stepped up, especially starting in the third. San Diego does a really good job of covering the block. So that means if they're hitting, they're preparing to get blocked back.
Yeah.
And like recycling and trying again. So they cover really well. I think that a lot of teams have been struggling with that really all season, but they do a good job of that. They like really lay out for it. Their right backs are doing a good job as off blockers, which is not super common.
Yeah.
I feel. And Venegas has been like really covering and playing great, strong defense. They're libero. So I liked seeing that. I think that was the case the whole week, really, for them.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned Bastianelli when we were talking about middles, and she had 500 on 12 attacks and had 7 blocks. So
yeah, she had a good game,
defensive and offensive.
I mean, yeah, she was only set 12 times in a 5-set match, but she did something with it. Yeah, passing was not good. Because we know how much TomCom likes to push her middles.
They were well matched with Omaha this season, and they ended up splitting the series 2-2. On the 26th, we had Orlando at Columbus.
3 matches.
Final meeting.
One day on a Friday.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Weekday.
I don't know.
Weekday triple header.
That's a lot. Wait, yeah, it was the first of the 30 games, right? Were any of them at the same time?
There was some overlap in the late games.
Okay.
Orlando goes to Columbus. Columbus comes up with a big home win to, you know, continue that pursuit of the 4th spot in the playoffs. They won in 4 sets after losing the first. So, Orlando took the first 25-22, then a really close second. Columbus won 26-24, and then it kind of got out of hand for Orlando, 25-12 to the Fury in the 3rd set, and then 25-15 in the 4th set to win.
I was noticing a lot more zoomed in camera.
Yeah, Columbus does that.
Is that what makes it feel a lot faster to me? Like the speed of play, or were they actually playing faster?
Yeah, I mean they might have like the type of camera they're using. It just has a different shutter speed. I don't know.
The issue with the zoom in is that...
Were you watching it on a faster speed?
No, I wasn't. I don't do that.
Oh, I do that.
I value the quality. No. The issue with the zoom in is that we can't see where the defense is setting up.
Yes. Yeah.
Which, like, I don't know, maybe only we're doing that. But
Yeah.
but you can't see, like, anything that's what's happening.
Well, I wonder if these are the matches that the teams get for scouting reports, because I'd be pissed.
Of course.
I had to use it. But maybe they have
Can
their
you
own.
imagine? In college, we had to bring a recorder around.
Yeah, we did too. We did too,
like,
but it was like just in case, because sometimes
can you
they would
imagine if they set up a tripod
I'm sure
at
they
the end
do.
of the PVF? I'm
sure they do,
PVF court.
Because like us, they're like, we're not dealing with this camera angle.
Yeah.
Can't see how high these sets are.
Kip was covering so much space on defense. And then, like, because she plays great back row defense as well.
They were hitting amazing. Like, Reagan Cooper hit 500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She came in for Jen Moore halfway through.
Yep.
She didn't have as many attempts as normal, but...
Yeah, I mean, they started, those first two sets were pretty rough both ways. I think the second one especially, the Fury had like 5 set points at the end. They still got out hit by Orlando 110 to 100 in that second set. And then the third and fourth, they were just ridiculous. They hit like 600 in the third, almost 500 in the fourth. So they found something post halftime. And, part of it was having Reagan Cooper stay in and keep killing the ball.
Yeah, they do keep talking about the announcers, like, resting people.
Yeah.
Which, like, I think is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good in this situation.
But when you're trying to get to the top 4, you kind of can't fuck around.
No, but I think they're thinking they're not fucking around. I think they're like, Reagan Cooper's tired. We love Jen Moore.
She was sick too.
Yeah, like she's been doing great lately. Oh, she's not anymore? Okay, now it's Reagan Cooper's turn. Like, I think that, at least from the way that I've heard coaches talk about, like, valuing their bench and how deep their roster is, like, I think that's how they're thinking about it.
All right. That's good.
I don't know.
To have. But I felt like for Orlando, like, their middles were not productive for them. And then, like, Shina didn't have a good game. And it just, like, they couldn't get it together.
I wanted to see Azani Taylor more in this one. She didn't come in until they were already down 12-4. And for Orlando, the serve receive got terrible. They were running Wilma ragged when they did the dub sub for a little bit there. I don't know. Adora got blocked in the fourth a lot, and she was in a bad mood about it. Like, it was, I think, by Kendall. And then Scott, for Orlando, got the start in the fourth. And I just, like, can't understand in those scenarios where Carly Scott, like, has played some good back row for a little while. This is what was the trend this week. She played some good back row for a while. She started falling off on offense. And, like, I don't know why Jail Gill isn't back in.
I know. I think, I don't know. I think she was starting to get
Skylar
a lot. But But
it's like,
Jill is so good at defense.
I know. And then Carly stops playing off blocker defense, and then, like, she's kind of slow in middle back after a little while. Like, that's like the trend that I just saw this week with that. And the strategy that some of these other coaches seem to be having with their rosters, like Columbus and Omaha, no surprise. We're not seeing that from Orlando. They're not switching stuff in like a meaningful way. It's like, you get 5 points when we're already down 10. And that's not, when you come off the bench into that scenario, I don't think you actually think you can make a meaningful difference. I think that you think you're in to, like, try to change the vibe, and then the starters will go back in. Like, that seems to be a weird approach.
Yeah.
Third one, 2nd of the 26th day, Grand Rapids at Omaha. It was their third time meeting.
Another long work day for Omaha. Their second 5th set match of the week. And this one they won, though. So that feels a little bit better. They won the first set 25-22, lost the second 23-25, came into halftime, won 25-20, and then kind of fell down in the fourth set, lost 16-25 before coming back in the 5th and winning 15-7.
They used the power of the tornado.
Yeah. Yeah.
come.
It was delayed, right? Okay.
Another 5-set match on CBS.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
No, they threw us off. They threw us off with one 4-setter. Came back with another 5th-setter. Like we wouldn't notice. But there was just, I mean, the Supernovas, I think they had, it was Brooke had 63 attempts. I think Betty had in the mid-40s. And Stephanie Sabity had 53 attempts. So it was pretty pointed.
Yeah. Stephanie, good show. Good job.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
A lot of work. 21 kills, hit 280.
Yeah. Overall, Omaha, like their stats look really good.
Yeah.
Except for that they set the middles less than 30 times.
We don't love
They
that.
picked the 3.
We don't love that. I will say the last match, the middles did not perform for them.
Yeah, that was
But of course, that was kind of all the way around.
yeah.
They were not hitting well the last match. So
yeah, the Mojo had Tori Dixon's number in that last game.
Yes. But it looks like Sydney figured out her tight sets that we were commenting on in the last match. So that's good. But yeah, also Amelia Dimitrova is injured. I believe it's an ankle injury.
Yeah.
Which
happened last week.
Yeah, which I do think Rise is really feeling that. She was such a big part of their team, and to not have her playing, I think, is hurting them. Hopefully she'll be back. Well, hopefully they make it to the top 4 and then she is back for her final season.
Yeah, it seems like the Rise are still just like 7 people around in that L2 spot. Started with Simone Abbott, finished with Shannon Scully.
Yeah. I know they didn't put her in this game, but Erica Pritchard, no one's consistently good for like more than a match.
Just a little bit at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's kind of, it's like burning bright fire. What's that saying?
Burning bright and then burning out?
Yeah, maybe.
Sort of.
Something like that.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Yeah.
Indeed. Umbrella Ella.
I mean, yeah, it does seem like, especially in it's a 5-set game. They played fine, but when you don't quite know, who your best lineup is to have out there at any one time, when you're in, a tie-break set, can end up losing at 15-7.
Marin got a lot of sets. Good job.
They tried.
Yep.
Good job.
She was good.
Yeah, more than. I think she got the same number of attempts that both Omaha middles got combined.
Wow.
Didn't get blocked though.
Yeah. That was a match under duress.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah. Well, there was a tornado going on.
That's what I'm saying. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I think they still had like 7,000 people at the game too.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, it's probably safe.
Probably the safest place to be. When you think about it.
Yeah.
All right. Third match of that day.
Yep.
Vegas at San Diego, their last meeting.
Yeah. So San Diego, as with Omaha, another 5-set match, but at least they get to stay at home for both of them. So they're still in San Diego. Vegas came, won the first set 25-21, and then Mojo took the second 25-22. Vegas came back, won the third 25-17. Then a close one, the Mojo won the fourth 25-22, and another close tiebreaker set 15-13 in favor of Vegas, who kept their, scant playoff hopes alive with that win.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked Peyton Caffrey. This was the first I saw her.
Yes, I wrote Caffrey impressed me. Although if you look at her stats, not great. But
she's so explosive.
Yeah, Yep. It was a good first showing.
Cat Bell gave Vegas the first set. It was just the Cat Bell show.
Yeah. She's fun to watch as well. I just put Temmie's brownie face because she didn't have a very good game. I wish I know Willow Johnson played really great. I know, and she's getting a lot of sets. There was one, I think it was in maybe the third or the fifth set. They went to her like 3 times in a row, and I was like, oh, that looks so exhausting. I just love Temmie on the right side so much.
I know. She's been playing great, though. Like, she didn't really in this. Does she not really in this one? Yeah. And she's been on the outside when Willow's on the right. I think that that's one where, because she's younger, I like agree with the coaches, like rest her sometimes and then put her back in the set later.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a tactic that's working. They didn't do that this time.
Yeah.
I thought Kendra Dalkey was passing great. I wanted to see her stats. 59% positive ain't bad.
Yeah.
But Lindsay Vanderweide was passing well too.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw some of the craziest rundowns when these two teams play each other, like of the whole season, like bringing balls back that went far away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when Vegas does that on serve receive, I question if they're trying to retire Alicia. That was something that I felt.
She just runs and runs and runs all over the place.
Just constant running all over.
She gets there.
I know.
Yeah, she's so good. I also wrote, and I mean this in the truest sense of the word wild, that Hannah's serve is wild. Hannah
Tapp? There's so many Hannahs.
Hannah Maddox, sorry.
Hannah Maddox.
Hannah Maddox, because like hard serve, top spin, she gets aces. But when she misses, It's crazy. It like hits like the first row of the stands.
It's sails.
It's wild.
Yeah.
This was one of the good days though. She had 3 aces. I think Vegas had 8 on the day. It was big.
Yeah, it's good.
Also, Berkeley Oblad hit 460 with 12 kills. She had twice as many block touches as anyone else in the game on either side. So 3 blocks.
Nice.
Way to go,
Pretty
Berg.
nasty.
I would call her Berg if she was my teammate.
Yeah, do you think she likes it?
I don't know. I should ask her.
I would hope so.
She follows us on Instagram. Shout out. I'm going to need these announcers to stop talking about the assists per set statistic. It doesn't fucking mean anything. They keep saying
like always the same.
Tom and Alicia, they're one of them is number 1 in assists per set, and the other is 2, and they go back and forth all season. Yeah, because they play the most. What? It's just like numbers. It's just pure numbers. It's not an average. It's just if you play more, they're like the only 2 teams that have one setter pretty consistently playing.
Yeah.
So that's why. It's just like And at one point, another announcer was like, these setters are in the top 10 in the league in assists per set. They're only 10. No kidding. Like, it's just, I just need, setting stats are like so not indicative of like sort of anything. Like, yes, okay, getting a lot of assists just means that your team had a lot of kills, or it was a long match, or it was mostly, you setting. And it's a fine stat. Of course, like a career assist record, like the one that I have. That's like, it just means that you played a lot. That's like, you just played a lot of matches. We went to we went to 5 so many times. It was very tiring.
In one breath, Nikki has bragged about having a record and that she played a lot. No, I just wanted to make sure everyone caught that. Continue.
Well, listen, I didn't have to be tall. I played D3, so I could play 5-1.
This is what's wild to me, though, right? Like, Vegas lost the second set 22-5, 22-25. They had 5 assists.
What? Okay. See, that tells a story. That's data storytelling, Ian.
How does that even happen?
Is that real?
I mean, that's what it says here.
Yeah. They got their points.
How do you even score 22 points?
Yeah. They got their points on the other team making errors.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Service errors from the Mojo.
6 service errors
Three
from the
hitting
Mojo.
errors.
Vegas had 2 aces, right? It's like there's other ways that you're pushing.
Yeah, like
Without
you can
without
get
a
killed.
setter setting a ball.
Yeah, and you can even have kills without having assists because of overpasses.
Which
Sure.
these teams do a lot when they play
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
But see, that's like,
That
that's the
seems
way.
to me like less of the norm, though, right? Like most of these teams are, you're
Right.
scoring 25 points in a set and you're assisting 18 times.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's where that stat, like, that's exactly right, Ian. That's where that stat will, like, tell us something about what happened. But, like, for the most part, actually, for the most part, the stats that I think tell us what happens are not always in these stat books. Like,
Sure.
at one point, Angel Perez, like, conversion percentage of digs,
Mhm.
which
Oh,
like they
yeah.
keep on their own,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
when we get a dig, how often do we get the kill?
Yeah.
That point.
Yeah.
Or like there's first ball kill
Yeah.
percentage. How often do we get a kill on serve receive? Like there's other stats that we just don't have access to that like the teams use.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't think there's any real like pure setting stat. It's like using those other stats that I mentioned, the like dig conversion and the first, serve receive ball kill, that can tell you whether the setter's doing a good job.
But there's a
running
bunch
the
of
offense.
variables, before it gets to the setter and a bunch of variables out after. So
Mhm.
I guess it
Totally.
makes sense you would need like 6.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
On the 28th, Grand Rapids was at Columbus. Their last time playing each other.
Mhm. Another simultaneous doubleheader.
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Inexplicably.
Yeah, Columbus hosting Grand Rapids, as you said, continued the playoff push they had started earlier in the week. And they crushed the Rise. And they won the first set 25-21. And then the second and third sets, they won both of them 25-15. A sweep.
Whoa.
This one was something.
This is a doctor's appointment to get to.
They found something in the last 2 sets. The
Yeah.
last game, they kept it going.
They were unstoppable. Like as a team, they hit over 400.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
the
Yeah,
Rise
and they
at 130,
came out to
so.
huge leads. Like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
beginning of every set, up 7, up.
At the beginning of this match, like in set 1, the announcer goes, "There hasn't been a lot of 3-set matches," or something like that. And then it happened.
Conspiracies.
Conspiracy.
Jinx.
Okay, so this Columbus post-match interview was a big deal in
Yeah.
the Reddit,
Tell me.
and Angel Perez was pissed off, and he like even like kind of banged the table at one point. Like
Oh.
he said
Does he know his team won?
Grand Rapids. I know, right? He said Grand Rapids. We've all been feeling. I've been feeling disrespected by them
Damn.
because they came to town and they didn't practice, and then they didn't practice yesterday or this morning, and they think that they can beat us last time and then walk in here and not have to train to play us. And I told these women that no one comes into your home arena and treats you like that and thinks that they can get away with it. And he used it as like, you could tell that he was using it as like a pump up for everybody.
It worked.
To be like, feel disrespected that they came in here and they think they're going to cakewalk you. That wasn't in his quote, but he said,
I mean, the reality of it is that they played on Friday and then they had to travel from Omaha to Columbus, and they didn't.
Yes, of course. And like there was the delay of the match. There was something about like they didn't get a meal, and they chose to like fly out later than they were supposed to because the match was delayed. Here's the thing about this. I think that so Kathy George is a Michigan State is the Michigan State coach for 20 years, and now she's in this role. Angel Perez has played pro in Puerto Rico and then has coached pro in Puerto Rico before. I think there's a different approach that some of these coaches are taking to you're tired, you're dealing with things. I think that there is this, and I'm not saying which one I agree with or think, I have no idea, but I think that a lot of these pro coaches are like, this is your job. You show up to your job. And that's how Angel Perez was talking about this he said, we take our job seriously, and I don't care that they were tired.
Yeah.
You show up for your job when it's time for your job.
Whereas Kathy George is maybe still in the mindset of, oh, they're student athletes.
They're kids.
They need a break. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
And
I mean, she's probably not even consciously doing it, right? It's just what.
Sure.
Yeah.
But when your coach signals to you, aren't you tired? I feel so bad. I feel so sad for you. You're really going through it. Like, then it like makes it kind of acceptable for you to be like, yeah, I was tired. Like, I think there's very different approaches to it. And the way even Kathy George was talking to us after that game about how the schedule is crazy. And I think that everybody's schedule is crazy at some point or another. Then there was like speculation on Reddit that like Grand Rapids was sick or like got food poisoning or something. It's just too many people for the coach. That would have to be too many people for the coach to be like, no, we're not practicing. Even to get a serve receive in, like, I think is a little nuts. So
yeah, that really surprises me. You're not going to go move your body.
Right.
Yeah.
So Columbus was mad about it.
Yeah. And it worked.
The other game on the 28th?
Yeah.
Was Vegas at Atlanta.
Yes.
Also their last time playing each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So Atlanta showing up for their second time. Yeah, I mean, Vegas, we talked about, they had an outside chance at the playoffs. They've got a slightly more outside chance after this
What a nice way to
match,
put that.
Atlanta. Yeah. Yeah, it's just slightly less. And Atlanta won in 3, another sweep. They won 25-17 in the first, and then both the second and the third, they won 25-20. Yeah, tough. The Vegas only hit. Atlanta blocked them 11 times and had 18 block touches in 3 sets.
Wow.
They only had to hit 220 to cruise Vegas. So.
Yeah, I mean, a notable Anna Lazareva hitting 40.
Yeah.
Which is pretty mind-blowing.
And they're just like, oh, it's fine. We're winning in a sweep. Anyways.
Yeah,
Leah Edmond was the only player they had in double digits.
Wow.
They only needed one player in double digits.
On the Vegas side, it looks like McKenna Vicini played middle instead of Lane Van Buskirk.
Oh, yeah.
But she got set 12 times and she hit 250, which isn't Berkeley didn't get set much either. I guess Vegas really didn't pass well.
Yeah, I mean, it's
positive.
And they were just trying to find something, it seemed like.
Yeah.
In the middle of those sets. And like Saskia Hippa, not a great day. Kenna Sauer, the same.
Hannah Maddox didn't have a great day. Peyton Caffrey, though, hit 330. That seems to be like their main point producer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good addition.
Atlanta had a lot of their benching, which was...
Yeah. Well, we talked about last game or a couple games ago, being able to score points without assists. They had those 11 blocks. They had 6 aces in 3 sets, Yeah. Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, this was a blowout.
I know. Vegas is just like coasting for final. So who are they playing in their last match?
Their last one is Columbus.
Okay, that'll be an interesting
Important
one.
for Columbus. Yeah. They'll be trying.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's at home for Atlanta.
It'll be interesting to see what just like
Vegas at Atlanta the sweep was CBS.
Yeah,
right?
I know our conspiracy theory is really breaking down. But
No,
they
it's not,
have to throw in a 3-setter every once in a while.
This is the exception that proves the rule yet again. It's the second exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
Every time, it's all part of the plan.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So it basically means that we're right the whole time.
Yeah. Oh.
Last match.
Last
It was
match.
April 29th, Orlando at San Diego. Their third meeting.
Yeah, San Diego. 15 sets this week.
Oh.
3 matches.
They're getting their money's worth.
Yeah, their
something.
third 5-setter of the week. They won this one though as well. So they won the first set 25-18. They lost the second 19-25. Won the third 25-15. Lost the fourth 18-25, and then won the tiebreaker 15-11. It was back and forth. It was a little crazy.
So this is actually their 6th 5-set match in a row.
Orlando's
Jesus.
or San Diego?
Mojos.
Mojos.
It's a lot of work.
And they've had 9 overall.
Oh my God. They don't win very many of their first sets.
Yeah. They won
So
this
like they push into 4-5 all the time. That's fair.
Yeah.
But like I did hear that stat and I was wondering it. I was like, man, they don't start off pretty well normally. So when they did here, it was, but Orlando's passing looked terrible.
Yeah.
How was it on paper? 57% on the match.
They actually passed better than Mojo did.
Mhm.
I'm so surprised by that. I thought that their first contact was terrible. Maybe that was Diggs. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't think that it looked good on screen, but the stats looked fine.
Yeah.
Dora did not hit well.
Yeah,
Carly Scott did not hit well. Shaina did not hit well.
It was really like set to set a lot different. I mean, the first set they were both bad. They both hit under 100. The second set, Orlando hit 620, and then they're just bad again. They hit 0 in the third set.
I mean, it's like if your middles are
It's
the only
weird.
ones, if your middles are the only ones that are like hitting consistently, you can't really rely on that only. Like you need a pin that's doing something. At least one.
For sure.
Hopefully 2. Ideally 3.
Let's just be honest. In honor of this being Shaina's last match,
Yeah.
I did notice that she has a really good serving routine.
Oh.
And I wanted to take
yes.
a quick moment to talk about serving routine.
Yeah.
So Shaina's is that she does high bounces up to her head all the way until she gets to where she needs to be before she serves. And then she does 5 small bounces. And then on her last one, she palms it, which is very cool. It's like just with one hand, palms it. And then she serves it. And I think that's a really good service routine. I love service routines. Is there anyone that you...
Do you have one?
Yeah, I do. It's shorter in adult because who has fucking time for that shit? But in college, it was like one of those. Okay. Do you remember the thing that everyone learned in middle school where you like slap it and it goes like ba-boom, boom?
Sure. Yeah.
I used to do that in like high school. And then I would do 4 little bounces after. And then I thought that was juvenile. So I would just do 4 little bounces. And now I just do 2 bounces. And then I spin it.
Are you a superstitious person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, though, after the routine, it reminds me to exhale before I serve, which I think everyone should do, regardless of if you have any kind of routine, like blowing out air.
Yeah. See, I think all that stuff is bullshit, and
That's
everyone should just serve.
It's like whatever.
Obviously, do what you got to do. Okay. But like,
because you shouldn't miss. That's like where it comes from in my head. It's like,
Yeah.
do whatever you need to do to not miss.
yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone has a routine, right? Technically.
I think so.
I walk back with the ball in my hand, and then I stand there, and then I wait for the whistle.
You're feeling frisky?
If I drop the ball, then I gotta bounce it to get it back up. But I wait for the whistle,
sure.
and then I serve it.
I think a lot of the players in this league have some kind of routine.
Yeah, I think that's superstition is a big thing. One of the players on my college team, she'd put all the stuff on her right leg and then all the stuff on her left leg. So like she put her
socks, knee pads,
sock, knee pad, ankle brace, shoe, tie shoe. Okay, now move over to the left side and do it. But speaking of I'm not sure I've actually noticed anyone's like serve routine in particular, but I will say that Tori Dixon does this nice little scoop when she throws the ball, and I really appreciate that. I think it's fun.
They don't give you a lot of time in this league to
No,
do your
no.
thing. So that's why I know to shine us, because it's on her way.
Yeah.
to
She
the
had to
end line.
incorporate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So yeah, if you perceive any service routines that you like, let us know.
Yeah.
I loved seeing August Rasky in this match. Circling back to the match,
Oh, yeah?
she played a whole like set and a half. The chat didn't like it. The
Oh,
chat
yeah, 'cause
missed Tom Cobb.
Tom Cobb. Yeah.
Which I understand. But
Yeah.
she's a lefty. Like, she had some kills
Nice.
going over on 2.
Love to see it.
It's just big shoes to fill, you know.
Yep.
Especially in the chat.
Especially in the chat.
Oh, that was Orlando's 6th loss in a row.
Oof.
So they were 7-8 at one point. They're now 7-14. They are tied with Vegas for the worst record in the league right now. They still, I believe, have just a very outside chance of a playoff spot if everyone else in the league loses and they win their last 3 games. But
The only problem with that, I was thinking about this too. So,
there's just not enough teams in the league.
well, and May and Vegas have 3 matches left each, but they play
Sure.
each other twice.
Yeah, so one of them
Yeah.
has to win out at the expense of the other one.
Yeah.
And it's like
There can
not
only
a
be
chance
one.
to like rise twice by
Mhm.
beating someone
By
who
beating
you
some-
need to get ahead of. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you need like the Supernovas and the Vibe to win all their remaining games.
Which are only Omaha plays 4 matches. Grand Rapids has 3 left, and then San Diego and Columbus have 5 left, each of them.
Yeah, it's a lot of games. Yeah. So, with that win, they're a game ahead of Columbus for that 4th spot and a half game behind the Rise for the 3rd spot. So those last 2 spots are still not secure by anyone. It's going to be
Grand
looks
Rapids
like
and
3 teams into 2 spots.
This is also the week where Grand Rapids and San Diego, like San Diego just flies to Grand Rapids for the weekend to play them twice, which is a big head-to-head to like
Yeah.
fight for that 3rd place.
Yeah. Wow.
You can go eat at Founders Brewery in between, you know,
They won't get seats.
walk the river walk.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So that'll be a big one. Yeah, we kind of mentioned it, but we've got Orlando at Vegas, one of those 2 matches of them going head to head on May 1st. On May 2nd, it's Columbus at Atlanta. That's Atlanta's last one we mentioned. On the 4th, it's San Diego at Grand Rapids for the first time. On the 5th, they do it. Also on the 4th, Omaha at Columbus. And on the 6th, Omaha at Vegas.
2
Wind
big
it
games for
down.
Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who do you think will be the 3 and 4 spot?
You know, I don't know. Columbus seems pretty pissed.
I agree.
No. I could see Columbus sneaking in. I'm hoping for Mojo.
Yeah.
So you think the Rise will fall?
Uh-huh. I kind of
The
do.
standings. Our home team Rise that we went and
I
saw.
know. Ooh.
Rough.
I'll still wear their hat.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I kind of agree. I think San Diego will pull ahead to 3rd. I think they'll beat Rise in a
Yeah.
couple times they play them. That's like and then I think Columbus could take, if they stay mad, if that's what they were, and they stay there,
Yeah.
I think we'll see them push into 4th.
Yeah, I mean, I so much of it I think just depends on Dimitrova too, and if her
Oh, yeah.
ankle
yes.
is
You're
better,
right.
and
Yep.
you know, because I could see Grand Rapids, turning around and having, a run like they had last month or a couple weeks ago. They were really good, but yeah, if they don't have Dimitrova, it doesn't seem like a great outlook for them.
It depends too on if the VNL girls leave.
Yeah.
So like if Ashley Evans goes,
Mhm.
that's a big part of their game. Same with Kendall Kipp for
Yeah.
Fury. So it's very
Yeah,
dependent on that.
They need
Yeah.
those kills.
Well, we'll update on Instagram if we hear anything.
Yeah.
We'll let y'all know. That was a long one. Thanks for listening to Court Captain's Volleyball Podcast. Please give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you like what you're hearing. Support small podcasts. If you don't like what you're hearing, then please just go ahead and mind your business. Follow us on Instagram at CourtCaptainsPod and email us your questions or comments at courtcaptainspod@gmail.com.
Don't forget to be the captain of your own court.
Good
I'll
stuff.
think on that.
Yep. Have a great week.
Have a good week.
See ya.
Love you. Bye.